Hello, all, you're welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're a day trader or you're planning to be a day trader and you've not been profitable in the markets, then this video is for you. Over the years, I've been day trading and analysis has shown that over 90% of day trader fails, which shows only 10% of day trader are profitable. And I'm fortunate to be among the 10%. I know a lot of you guys have been passing through a lot trying to day trade. You've tried a lot of concepts, but it is not working out for you. This is the solution for you. I believe you deserve the best. You've spent a lot of time trying to be profitable in this market. Now it is your time to get it right. And I'm going to show you in this video. During my undergraduates, mathematics was my best topic. And we're being taught that we can actually apply mathematics in our day-to-day activities. So looking at this market, I came up with a strategy that is a mathematical strategy and that works almost perfectly. When I say mathematics, I know you might be curious, but not a lot of mathematics, just simple arithmetics. I believe when I ask you 1 times 1, you know that is 1. And when I ask you 1 plus 1, you know that is 2. That is how very simple it is to use this concept I'm about to show you. I came up with this concept called the CMC Trading Strategy. So I'm going to be using my screen right now to explain everything for you, ranging from what is this concept, how does it work, the formula to trade with it, and we're going to be looking at real trade with this strategy. So let's dive in. Firstly, you got to understand the full meaning of CMC, which means Comrade Maths Concept. The comrade right there is my name, and the Maths Concept is what we're going to be using to trade the financial market. The Maths Concept is a trading strategy developed by me using a mathematical approach to analyze market direction across trading sessions. What this really means is for you to use this Maths Concept, you're going to trade across the next session. When you are in Asian session, you're going to use your Asian session to determine what you're going to be having in your London session. And when you're in your London session, you're going to be using your London session to determine what we're going to have in your US session. That is how simple it is to trade with this strategy. The next thing we have on my sheet is it is built on the principle of observing the first and last candle of a session, then combining them with the first candle of the next session to determine potential market movement. What this simply means is we need the first candle of your current session and the last candle of your current session with the first candle of your next session only to determine the next movements of the market. So let's look at the next thing on the sheet. The next thing on the sheet talks about the time frame. This time frame works perfectly on 15 minutes time frame. So if you want to trade with this and you're a day trader, you have to learn how to start trading with lower time frame like 15 minutes time frame. The next thing we have are the core components. You got to understand that we have 3 core components if you want to use the strategy. We have the F1, which means the first candle of the session. And we have L1, which means the last candle of the session. And we have F2, which means the first candle of the next session. Now, I'm going to be using graphical representation to explain what F1, L1, and F2 means to you properly. Now, when you watch on my screen properly, you could see that we have a dotted line. The dotted line is the break of the previous session to the next session. So the first candle we have right here after the break of the first session is your F1, which was the first candle, right? And the last candle we have before the break of another session is the L1, okay? Now, after this break, we have another new candle, which is the first candle right there, and we call that the F2. That is how simple it is to identify your F1, L1, and F2. The next thing we have on our sheet is candle type representation. We have bullish candle and we have bearish candle. The bullish candle is always the green represented candle, while the bearish candle is always the red represented candle. Now, the bullish candle is going to be denoted as +1. It's going to be +1. So whenever you see a bullish candle, you're going to know at the back of your mind that you have a +1. And the bearish candle is going to be denoted as -1. So whenever you have a bearish candle, you know you have -1. That's the candle type representation we're going to be using in this strategy. Let's move to the next step. At this part of the sheet is what we're going to be talking about the formula how to calculate the market direction. Now, this formula right here is very simple, okay? If you can cram these three formula, that's beautiful. But if you can't cram it, you can actually use your phone, your calculator, or your PC to calculate this at any time. The formula you're seeing right here is the same thing your calculator is going to give you. Whenever you have -1 and -1, you're going to be having +1. You know what I said earlier, the -1 is represented by bearish candle. So whenever you have a -1 and a -1, that means you have a bearish candle and a bearish candle. So when you have a bearish candle at the beginning of your session and you have a bearish candle at the end of a session, we're going to call that a +1, okay? So the next thing we have right here is your +1 and -1. So whenever you have +1, which is the bullish candle, and -1, which is the bearish candle, you should know that your result is going to be -1. And when you have +1 and +1, that means when you have a bullish candle and you have a bullish candle, your result is going to be +1, and that means bullish candle, okay? Now, this is the same thing you're going to get when you use your calculator, okay? When you say -1 times -1 on your calculator, you're definitely going to have +1. And all of the other formulas you have right here. Now, for you to determine the next direction of your markets, the formula is going to be your F1 times L1 times your F2. Don't worry, we're going to be using the real market to explain exactly how this formula works, okay? So if at the end of this formula, you end up having +1 as your result, you should be looking to buy in the next session, okay? And if you have -1 as your result, you should be looking to sell in the next session of the market. Let's move to the next step. Now, the next step is how to use this concept to trade the real market. So we have 5 checklists on my screen. So we're going to be starting with the first one. So right here, we have at the end of each session, mark the first and last candle. So let's move to the real financial market. So whenever you want to use the strategy, let's assume you want to use it for XAUUSD, okay? If you want to do that, you know you're trading gold against United States dollars, but you're not going to use XAUUSD. So right here, you can see I have 2 trading views open, okay? Right here, you can see I've opened XAUUSD, while the other one I have opened the gold futures, okay? So I want to use gold as an example. Whenever you want to use the strategy, you're going to open the currency pair and you're going to open the future of that currency, okay? So the future of this currency is the gold future. The gold future is going to give you the real thing you need. There's no manipulation in their future. So that is why I recommend you use the gold future. If you use the real financial market, if you use the real currency pair, you would actually get the same answer, but it is more better to use the future. So right here on my screen, this lines you can see right here is the break of a session to another session, all right? So the first candle we have right here is a bullish candle. So we want to call that our F1, right? So we're going to say our F1 is bullish, all right? So that's going to be +1. So we want to take this up a little bit. So the last candle right here is a bearish candle. So we're going to have to call that L1. And our L1 is going to be -1. So right now we have the F1 and we have the L1. So remember, the formula says we're going to be saying F1 times L1 times F2, okay? So this is what we're going to be doing that's going to give us the result of the next movement of the market. So now that we have the first and the last, all right, let's look at the next on our checklist. The next one says at the start of the next session, wait for the first 15 minutes candle to close. So right here is the beginning of the next session. And right now I'm on 15 minutes time frame, okay? So this is the first candle that closed on 15 minutes time frame, which was a bearish candle. So we're going to call that our F2. So F2 is going to be denoted as what? -1, okay? So right now we have positive, negative, negative. So for you to, determine what you're going to be having right here, so you can just go back to the formula that I showed you or use your calculator, okay? So whenever you have positive 1 and a negative 1, that's going to be negative 1, okay? So right here, the results right here is going to be negative 1, okay? So for this session, we got negative 1, all right? So you're going to use these two things now to multiply by this one. So negative 1 and negative 1 is going to give you what? It's going to give you positive 1. Okay? So we expect to have a positive 1 in this market. Okay? And whenever you have a positive 1, remember I told you it is a bullish movement. And that was why we had this market went all the way up. You could see that? So let's go ahead and do one more example so that you can understand properly. I know you're really enjoying this video. If you know you like it and you're learning something new, consider to give this video a thumb up. Share this video with friends and use the comment section to ask me any question. I'm going to be answering all of your questions. So let's continue. So remember, we want to determine now for this session right here. So we know the first thing we have right here now is a negative 1. So for us to determine for the next session, this is going to change to F1, okay? That's going to be the first session now. And since right here, it starts with a bearish candle, that's negative 1, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and take this off. And the last candle we have right here is a bearish candle. And that also is going to be our L1. And we're going to call that negative 1, okay? So for the next session, we're going to call this our first candle right there, which is going to be our F2, right? So F2 right here is a bullish candle, so we're going to call it positive 1, okay? Now remember the formula, F1 times L1 times F2, okay? So right here we have negative 1 times negative 1. That's going to give you positive 1. There's a secret I'm going to tell you by the end of this video. And with that secret, you don't have to crack your brain too much, and you don't have to use a calculator to know exactly what your result is going to be. So make sure you do not skip any part. Watch it to the end and understand every single thing, because I'm going to be saying that very soon. So make sure you stay tuned. So you have negative 1 times negative 1. Even when you use your calculator, that's going to give you positive 1. And when you use our formula right here, it's going to give you positive 1. Okay? So the first candle we have right here, which is our F2, that's going to be positive 1. So positive 1 times positive 1 is going to give you positive 1 from our results. So right here too, we're expecting a bullish candle. Okay? We're expecting a bullish movement. And right here, we should have a positive 1. Okay, so when you look at this section, you can see is a uptrend. Okay, so we're going to look at one more example so you can understand better. Remember, I told you that I'm going to be telling you a secret that you won't have to use your calculator before you can determine what next you need to do. So whenever you have a bearish and a bearish candle, you should know that the result is going to be bullish. Whenever you have a bullish and a bullish candle, you still need to understand that the result is going to be bullish. Whenever you have the same candle at the first and at the end of a session, if the candle are the same thing, if it's bearish, so that session is going to be bullish. All right? And if it's bullish, that session is going to be bullish as well. But when you have bullish and bearish, it's going to be bearish. Or when you have bearish and bullish, it's going to be bearish. So when you have two different types of candle at the beginning and the end of a session, you should know that session is going to be negative. Okay? So usually the times it with the beginning of the next session. And that's going to give you your next result. Okay? So right here, we're going to determine what movement this is going to be. All right? So the first candle we have right here is bullish candle. So we got that positive 1. So let me go ahead and take this off. And the last candle we have right here, we call that negative 1, okay? Because that is a bearish candle. So we're going to call that L1, and that's going to be -1, okay? Now, positive, negative. Remember the scope I told you. When it's a two different types of candle, the result is going to be what? Bearish. So we're going to have -1 as the result right here. Very simple, right? Now we're gonna move straight to the first candle we have at the second section, which is gonna be your F2, and that's gonna be +1 because that's a bullish candle. All right. So remember, I told you whenever you have two different candles together, the result is gonna be bearish. So right here, -1 is a bearish candle, and +1 is a bullish candle. So we have two different candles mating together. So you should know the result is going to be what? -1. So we're expecting that this session should go negative. And you could see at the end of the day, this session was also a downtrend. All right. So this is how very simple it is for you to use this strategy to trade. Now, I know the major question is going to be, how do we take this trade? How do we set stop loss? And how do we set take profit? That is very important also to know. Since I've took out of my time to show you how you can trade with my proven strategy, you should also hit me up to learn every single thing you need to know. And these are just few things I just showed you in this strategy. There are a lot more things you can know. There's a lot more things I can tell you. And there's a lot more way you can trade with this strategy and be profitable. I don't want to say the strategy works more than 90% of the time, but of course it does. So if you want to know how to set the stop loss, your take profit, and some hidden features about the strategy, use the link in the description of this video to register for one-on-one live mentorship on this strategy so I can show you more things you need to know. And feel free to use the comment section to ask me questions. Don't forget to hit right on that subscribe button and like this video. Thank you for watching.